Hello. Today on eThekwini Matters, we are joined by eThekwini Council Speaker, Mr. Thabani Nyawose. I'm your host, Silana, and welcome to another episode of the eThekwini Matters podcast. Council Speaker will give us an update on ongoing Repair Association meetings across the city and also share with us some of the upcoming events that eThekwini Municipality is also hosting and what region can look forward to. Over to you, Speaker, and welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much. Good morning to you. Good morning to your listeners. Thank you very much for having me. I'm happy to be here.
So, Mr. Speaker, we know that amongst your roles is the conduct of council speakers. So what are some of your other roles that perhaps our residents might not be aware of that you can tell us more about?
Yeah, thank you for the question. I think before maybe I answer your question, I think members of the public have to be aware that the existence of local government is found in section 152 in the Constitution, the object of local government. But there are 4 objects. But number 4 talks about involvement of citizens in the affairs of the municipality. Now, the Speaker's responsibility derive from that section in the Constitution. Number 2 is the Municipal Structures Act. These legislations are very much important for people to know so that when we become accountable to them, they know which pieces of legislation they can use to make local government accountable. The Structures Act, mainly Section 38, that talk about the role and the function of the Speaker, as well as the Municipal Structures Act, Section 6, that talk about public participation. Now, all my functions derive from those 3 legislations. But to answer your question, one of the things that I think that members of the public are not aware that we are doing, in my office at City Hall, I am the only politician that deal with individuals' complaints from members of the public who can come to City Hall, to my office, to complain about whatever. Now, members of the public, they need to be aware that if you are frustrated by your councillor, by any department, instead of mobilizing people to protest, demonstrate, destroy facilities, first you must come to my office, lodge your complaint, and your complaint will be attended. Secondly, something that I think the members of the public are not aware, I am also responsible for the security and safety of councillors. To make sure that they are safe, I must provide security for them, analyze their risk and threat directed to councillors, and make necessary arrangements for them to be protected. That is my responsibility. The third responsibility that I think members of the public are not aware, I'm also responsible for chairing council. But chairing council, not only to chair council, but I'm responsible in establishing council committees. All council committees are established by myself. The composition, the number of councillors, representation of political parties in those committees is myself. And also the functionality, I'm also responsible. Do they come to their meetings? Do they meet quorum? They discuss issues. I check attendance. I also report to Cllr about all those functions that I'm performing.
Sure, that's quite a lot that you're dealing with on a daily basis.
Lot,
But I like the fact that you mentioned the involvement of communities in municipal affairs, and that your office, is open and responsible for driving that. But what is your turnaround time? Because often you'd find that communities complain that, we take long to respond, which then perhaps is then what creates, the perception that we are not listening or attending to their grievances fast enough.
Dealing with members of the community, I also responsible for receiving memorandums, attending to protests. Once I have received memorandums or petitions from members of the public, I coordinate departments. I invite the CMs, heads of department, to look at the memorandum. Then we coordinate responses from the office of the speaker. Then within 7 days, 14 days, we must go back to that group or the community and report back on what the city has done to their demand. It's 7 days minimum, 14 days maximum in terms of responding. But I am aware that sometimes members of the public, they brought to my attention that sometimes after I've coordinated all departments, report back, what once I'm no longer in the space, I'm focusing on something else. Officials have a tendency not to continue to implement such of the agreement or decision taken in those meetings. Now is an issue of conduct of our officials. Now we have a responsibility to remind our employees that in terms of the Systems Act, they also have a responsibility to make sure that the municipality render quality of services to our people. Make them aware. Now, in this space, we are still lacking. We have to improve.
Definitely. Speaker, you've also been meeting with a lot of ratepayers, in the city, discussing various issues that pertain to that particular grouping. And I know that this evening, for example, you're also meeting with the Overport, Musgrave and Asherville Ratepayers Association. And what has been the highlights of these engagements, and what are you hoping to achieve through this, robust engagement with the ratepayers in the city?
I know that from the eyes of the public, there is a narrative that suggests that I'm doing these programs after being forced or summoned by Westville Ratepayers Association. That is not true. We started this program a long time ago. In fact, last year, I've been meeting with the Ratepayers Association in my office from last year. But let me tell you what we are doing. Before Westville, we are empowering, educating Ratepayers Association about some of the rights members of the public have in terms of making local government work and be accountable. We initiated these programs. Now, we have met with a number of Ratepayers Association. I can mention that we have met with Bluff, we have met with an organization called Durban Coalition, where most Ratepayers Associations affiliate, and social activists, academics, then Hostel Dwellers Association. I've been meeting those people. My program, my intention is to empower them with information so that they are aware that if they are frustrated with anything in their community, these are the lines of communication. Because of lack of knowledge, once our people, our organizations, Ratepayers Associations, they are frustrated by a councillor in a ward or one official in a department. The following day, they'll mobilize, block the road, burn tires, destroy facilities. Because they are not aware that if we are not happy or satisfied with the service we are getting from a councillor, there's a speaker who supervises these councillors, who can also attend to your problems. Now, all this engagement, that was objective. Now, we are continuing with the program now, but the reason why now it's being widely reported is because I went to Westville after they sent those letters threatening us that they're going to withhold their rate. Now, all my meetings after I met Westville Ratepayers Association are being publicized as if we started now. But in short, that's what we intend to achieve.
Yeah, no, I'm glad that you've touched on the fact that these are ongoing and they've started as early as last year, so that residents become aware of what the city is doing and the programs, that are there for their convenience. So is the city planning to meet with all ratepayers associations? And if yes, how do these associations, go about getting hold of the Speaker's office to say that we'd like to meet with you on this day? And also, when they do come forward, what should they sort of bring so that, we are better prepared when we respond to their issues?
Let me tell you how we are structured as local government in terms of the hierarchy. We have members of the public belonging in a particular ward. In that ward, there's a councillor and a ward committee. The ward committee is like a cabinet of that ward. It means all the issues, service delivery issues, social ill issues, crime, all issues have to be discussed at a ward committee level. Then every month, members of the ward committee are expected to send report to my office on the issues, proposals, requests, demand from the community.
Is that being done?
I'm going there. It means even members of the ratepayers association, because they're a stakeholder in a ward, they should send their issues to the ward committee so that they reach my office. Once they reach my office, I sit down and identify all issues and send them to relevant departments for department to include that in their programs. In other words, there's no need for ratepayers to struggle to reach my office. The ward committee is a vehicle where all their issues have to be presented and reach my office. That's how we're structured. Now, once issues are at my level, from the portfolio committee in a department are discussed, recommendations are made to the executive committee chaired by the mayor. Then the mayor and the ex-ESCO, they will send those recommendations to me as the chair of council. Council is the highest decision-making body of the municipality. Now, that's where we make decisions. That's how we are structured. But unfortunately, our ward committees are dysfunctional. Most of them, they are dysfunctional. Members of the community, sometimes they don't feel comfortable to bring their issues to the ward committee. They prefer to deal with us direct. That's not how we are structured. But because we understand that they have a right, that's why we receive them. They email to me, they send WhatsApps, they make call, they visit my office. Now, that's the way we are doing, and we are encouraging them to come to my office whenever they are frustrated by ward committees and councillors, because we're trying to minimize protests and demonstrations, and also want to narrow this gap between the municipality and communities. Now, the speaker is one person who is responsible to narrow that gap. Now, the interaction with ward committees, as I'm saying that my office is open, my email, my phone, these are the attempts to narrow this gap. So that no one will say, no, we don't know where to go.
Yes.
Now, I'm happy I'm here, I'm being given this platform to encourage members of the public, organizations, individual members to come to my office with all their problems. I am the only person at City Hall who receive members of the public direct. It's part of my job.
Sure, and it's 4 million residents in our city that you have to respond to. That's quite a big task.
Maybe a day I get something more than 90 emails, and I have to respond till 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning. They would tell you some of the people that I'm responding to. I don't sleep. I know that if there are many emails from the members of the public, at least by 2 o'clock, I'm still responding.
And what are you doing to sort of bridge the trust deficit? Because you did mention that sometimes they don't feel comfortable with, reporting these issues at ward committee level. What can be done to sort of bridge that gap so that you're also not, overly inundated with issues that can be addressed at the community level?
The first thing that you must do, unfortunately, you must start from political parties that elected these councillors, because councillors belong to political parties before they become leaders of the community. Now, if political parties take the work of the public serious, they will make sure that each and every councillor from a particular party, it's become compulsory to open his or her office. And date and time should be known by everyone when your office is open to consult. You must be there in your office. I provide offices for all councillors. I provide with them their phones, laptop, cleaning material, security, everything. The city is paying a lot to support councillors, to have an infrastructure to do their work. Now, offices are there. But sometimes you find that councillors, they don't spend time in their offices. Now, you must start there to fix that problem. Then number two, the speaker must be harsh in terms of enforcing the code of conduct.
And are you harsh?
Yes, I'm harsh. I can tell you, for the first time in the history of this municipality, where councillors have been charged, disciplined, and found guilty, then there were sanctions imposed for failure to convene public meetings. I've got councillors that I've deducted 2.5 in their salaries in the month of August for failure to convene public meetings. I've acted to those councillors. Some councillors who came to me and they show remorse, they admitted that there are some problems, they were given warnings. But those who were arrogant, those who were behaving as if the code of conduct is something that has been crafted by myself because I hate them. I had to stand the ground, be the side of the law and clean governance and act. Fortunately, I was correct. Council approved my report and those councillors were sanctioned. They're punished. Now I'm acting. They know. You see, now I've got cases where almost majority of ANC councillors, the previous council before this one, they left council without informing or getting the permission from the speaker. All of them. I have wrote letters to all of them to say I need explanation and reason why you left council meeting without my permission. And I will act. I'm acting.
No, I'm glad that you are definitely implementing punitive measures without fear or favor. Speaker, so 2 weeks ago, you convened a hostels indaba workshop for councillors. How did the discussions of this indaba go? And can you just please tell us more about the upcoming hostels indaba and their objectives?
The issue of hostels in our municipality is a sad story. Very sad. Hostel communities in our municipality that are not integrated with neighboring communities. Now, if you go to Cllr, Umlazichi, Kwamakota, H. Smith, they remain an isolated community.
Why is that?
Because of the apartheid designs. Because hostels were meant as a reservoir for cheap labor. Only males were allowed to stay there. Even the way structures were made, buildings, were not conducive for other people to live there except males. Now, with the hostel indaba, we are starting a conversation to say hostels were treated as a private property before 1994 because they were owned by the provincial government, the old Zulu government. Now, after 1994, all hostels were transferred to the city. Now, the mistake that happened, when these hostels were transferred, there was no reviewal of the bylaws. Now, today, if there's a best pipe at H.S. Smith Hostel is where man is to a best pipe where we're losing water. When a resident from a hostel is making a call to our call center to say there's a best pipe here, the answer you are getting, no, go and report to housing. We are not responsible for fixing water in the hostel. They are using an old 1967 Bantu Administration Act that prevented the municipality to service hostels because they were owned by another sphere of government. Now, when they were transferred, now hostels are our assets. You can't say in your own house you don't fix water. Now, the hostel in Ndaba intend to address those issues. They've been ignored for years. Let me tell you why, maybe for interest's sake, why the issue of hostel is very close to my heart. I'm a hostel dweller myself.
Even now?
Yeah, no. As a young boy, I grew up in a hostel. I passed my matric staying in a hostel. I went to a university staying in a hostel. I got married staying in a hostel. Now, my life, I know the pain those people are going through because I've been there. Subjected to the old apartheid laws in a democracy. Now, I'm trying to fix that. Now, the intention is to address those problems, to have municipal departments not operating in silos. They must have a program where in their budget, in their planning, they also include hostels. If we have to cut grass in the municipality, include hostels. Currently, when you plan for grass cutting, parks, they budget, they plan, but they exclude hostels. Water and department, DSW, everyone. In hostels, when bylaws are not being enforced. There are people here who are owning dogs, chickens, a lot of things that are not allowed in the urban area. But this municipality, because hostels are treated as an island, they are not enforcing those bylaws. It exposes the lives of the people in hostels. Therefore, the hostel in Ndaba intend to do that. Now, the discussion last week with councillors, we were preparing for the Ndaba, just to highlight issues, which department to be invited, what to be discussed. Those are the preparations. But the hostel in Ndaba is coming, where we'll invite other spheres of government, province and national, mainly SAPS, and the justice system to deal with crime in hostels. In hostels, I can tell you, a lot of criminals are there. But the last point that we want to achieve with this discussion, in a month, very much important, in a month, the city expects hostel dwellers to pay 73 million from their rent revenue, right? But we are receiving 1.2 million.
Sure.
We are expecting 73 million, but we're getting 1.2.
How many hostels?
There are 10.
Okay.
Now, even that 1.2 we are getting that 1.2 million from employees of the municipality who happen to stay in hostel because we can deduct this rent from their salary. It means members of the public who are hostel residents, they stay there free. Free accommodation, free electricity, free water.
Sure.
They are doing a lot of things. There are shops there, there are business, there are welding businesses. They are making money. They're making money. But they don't pay.
And what's been done to actually, receive this and collect this revenue?
Nothing has been done. That's why we're starting a process. It means after democracy, the municipality have never taken issues of hostel closely. Now we are losing millions of rands for failure to manage hostel better. Now I'm creating platforms where experts, activists, everyone will come in one room and discuss how this matter can be addressed. You can't have people here in eThekwini, receiving services free of charge.
You touched on budget hearings. So when is the city going to start with budget hearings for the upcoming financial year? and also the community-based planning and IDP processes?
Let me tell you the process. The process of drafting our budget, we start by something called community-based planning, where the whole community convene the meeting of the community. Members of the community present all their issues. They want this road to be fixed. They want the playing field for children. They want 1, 2, and 3. Now, all those proposals from the community-based planning, then during the IDP process, they're being submitted by the ward committee. For the municipality, when we're drafting budget, we consider those needs from the community. Our budget have to be informed by the needs of our people. Now, the first step is to create a platform where members of the public present their needs, their issues. Now we are starting in September, end of September, early October, where we are getting this information. Then, beginning of the year, next year around February, we'll continue again. Then later, we're going to visit community to present our draft budget in March. Our draft budget. Then end of April, we come back with the draft budget to be approved by council. Once draft budget is approved by council, we just go back to the community to say, this is our draft budget approved, to accept it, or we want to propose 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then end of May, budget have to be approved by council, the final budget that will be spent on the 1st of July. This is the process.
And can you explain, because some people may not understand, they think it's January, therefore when I want my road in January, because they're just in January, just explain why you do it in September and October, and when does our financial year start in the municipality?
You're asking a very important question, but I will answer it in a different way. In March 2023, we received 1.6 billion rand from National Treasurer for us to respond and to attend damages that were caused by floods. We received in March 17, 1.6 billion. Now it's September. Already we're getting complaints that we are failing to spend. There are issues of water, roads, and sewer spillages. Because they don't understand that even if you receive that money in March, you can't spend in March. You must wait the 1st of July, the beginning of the financial year, to spend that money. It means July, August, September, only 3 months to spend 1.6 billion. Now we are on the ground. Now, people, if we are saying the budget process, after July, department are spending the money that has been approved till end of June. But in the middle of the financial year, from October, we are starting preparations for the new financial year. That is 2024, 2025. It means currently we are spending the budget that's been approved for this financial year. But for 2024, that budget will be approved in May 31. That budget will only be spent on the 1st of July. Now, it means if the department is saying, no, we are running out of funds by December, we can't implement that project in January. You have to wait till July. Now, members of the public, they need to understand how government functions. That's how we work.
And what happens, for example, if that budget, like you said, it comes, but you can't spend it? What happens if then the financial year ends and you haven't spent that budget?
It depends. Some of the money that we are spending to service our people are grants from national. Those grants are called conditional grants. They are conditions. For example, there's a grant called USTG. It's a grant with a condition that you only spend on human settlement infrastructure only, nothing else. Now, if you fail to spend the grant by the end of the financial year, National Treasurer just check that money back to the national fiscus. Now, any politician, any leader, any local government is one of the most embarrassing things to happen. No politician, no councillor will be happy if funds are taken back to national figures while people have so much problems. Now, in our space, we've been in this situation where funds were taken back, but although we were not happy with some of the decisions from the national minister, but there are grants that have been taken back in our city, and the national treasurer, they were justified. Because, for example, the grant to implement Godeben, we're sitting with the money, but we're negotiating with tax association. There's no agreement. Now, you can't spend money when there's no agreement. You must deal with social issues first. Now, when those grants are withdrawn, it's not because we are negligent, we are incompetent, we don't care. It's because we are still fixing some social issues on the ground. Then, if you lose such a grant, at least we have reasons why you have lost that grant. But their grants were failure of department to plan properly. Sometimes failure to implement projects according to the time frames. Sometimes our officials, they plan, they implement projects, but when they arrived in communities, business forums disrupt our projects, intimidate our contractors, they cause chaos. Now we lose time. Sometimes some of the projects are being stopped because of the disruption by a business forum. Some of them are not business forum, are just criminals hiding as business people. Those are the reasons. But it's bad when you're losing money.
Wow, Speaker, you seem to have a lot on your plate. How do you strike a balance between being the Speaker of Council, being a husband, being a father, but also attending to the needs and issues of 4 million residents in eThekwini municipality?
It's not easy. We have to work hard. I have a little daughter who was 10 years. Yesterday, when he saw my team, the protectors with my cars, then he demanded to go with me. Because I've not been at home for some time. I left last week, Thursday, going to Joburg, attending Cllr conference. I came on Wednesday evening. She was sleeping. She woke up early. He went to school. Then that day, I arrived late at home. Now, she was complaining now. She wanted to go with me. Now, I must admit it's not easy. It's not easy. But I'm not a busy person except my work, my family, and church. Now, that's where my focus is. Now, at least if I'm not at work, I make sure that I spend time with my family. I make sure. Even an hour, I at home with my family. If I have to plan some trips to go out, I use that opportunity. Because most of the time, I'm not at home. I'm at work as a politician. But I must admit, it's not easy. But my wife, she's a very loving woman. My children, they understand. They are very supportive. And fortunately, I met my wife at an early age. She became part of my life knowing that I'm a politician. We've been together we've been married for 17 years.
You look so young, Speaker. I mean...
We've been married for 17 years. Now, yeah. She understands my life. And I'm very much pleased and happy with the support she's giving me. By the way, at home, I'm happy. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
We need a happy speaker at home as well.
For me to focus.
Definitely.
To serve these 4.7 million people.
Definitely.
Yeah, because if at home, your home must be home.
Yes.
So that to get energy to wake up tomorrow to service people.
There you have it. So I will let you go now, Speaker. We can talk all day.
Thank you.
Because of the great work that you're doing for our municipality, for our citizens, to ensure that we have a functional government and a functional municipality.
Thank you.
There you have it. That was an exciting episode of eThekwini Matters podcast with our speaker, Thabani Nyawose. And until next time, have a good afternoon.